Hello everyone, I'm home. Welcome back to my channel. Well, of all the beautiful flowers I bought at Danville Gardens, some of them just were not making it in all this heat. So I brought them away from the backyard where it's bright and sunny, and I put them in front of my porch where they get morning shade, and I watered them super, super good, and I let them sit there until the shade goes away, and I put them in some more shade under the tree, and they're starting to perk back up, but I think a couple of them are totally lost. I really hate to see it because they were so pretty, but the sun just baked them. And then my porch, I was out on my porch the other night, and I decided to put one of my I made it into a table runner. It's actually a curtain topper that's red and white checked. Not really checked, just a little print. And I put that down the middle of that desk that dresser that's on my table. And put a few more flags out. And I really liked the way it looked. I ironed it, but it still has a few wrinkles in it, so I laid that metal thing on it. But I like sitting out there at night, and the good thing about the little lamp is all the bugs kind of congregate around the lamp, and they stay away from me. And all of my flowers are doing really good. The ones up on the porch, they're not getting too much of the sun. And then in the kitchen, I wanted to add a little bit more patriotic color. So I had this it's kind of like a coverlet. And one side's got a darker red print, and I put it on the lighter side, but it's reversible. And then I told you I was going to take a flag that was in bad shape. One of the stripes is coming off of it, and I tea stained it by just using burnt umber paint and watered it down. And I hung it on the line, and I'll sew up that last stripe, and I'll use it for decor somehow. And yeah, I'm just kind of enjoying my flowers, and I love it when the little petals fall off of the flowers. But it's been so hot that we've been staying in the house every day, and it's been so cool in the house that the other day I got a hankering for making a butterscotch pie. So I get out Holly's book, and I got the butterscotch pie recipe, and I started making it. And I got my dough all made. I'm going to leave this on the screen for a few seconds so you guys can take a screenshot of it if you'd like to have it. It's basically just a regular custard cream pie, but using brown sugar instead of white sugar. But I made my crust, and I've been seeing these girls on all the TikToks and the reels and everything, just taking the dough and pressing it into the pan without rolling it out. So I tried that today, and I've got to say, it's pretty easy. You just push it in there and press it out, but it doesn't look as good as when and I don't mind rolling pie crust out. It does make a mess, but I think this looks messier, but it works. I mean, you can do it. I used an all butter crust this time, but these are some that I've done in the past, and I think they look better when you roll them out. That's just my opinion, but I tried it. So I got out my brown sugar, and my brown sugar was really light this time. It was so light that it didn't have much color to it at all. So I added a little bit more dark brown sugar, but the funny thing about being empty nesters now is we actually have pie longer than one day. And we got so tickled at the boys how they would attack a pie. And one time I made a chocolate cream pie while they were in school, and I set it on the counter, and I had to run to the post office. So when I came back from the post office, they had gotten off the bus, and I came into the kitchen, and they were long gone. They were either outside or in their rooms, and that pie pan was sitting on the counter with just a fork in it, a couple of forks. It was empty. Those two boys had stood there at the counter and eaten that whole pie. And it was hilarious because we called them Jethro Bodine back when they were here because they could eat so much. It was funny. But anyway, this pie turned out really good. It was butterscotch. Now, it did weep a little bit because it's been so humid that it wept quite a bit. But it was still good, according to my husband. And I seem to grab the same cake stand, even though I have so many. This one must be the easiest one to get to because I use it all the time. But it was empty. I put the pie in the refrigerator, and hubby's just about done with it. So I went ahead and put the cake stand away. Now, in a video or two in back, I had bought these two things that were cobalt blue embroidered scalloped edge things. I didn't know if it was a table runner, scarves, placemats. I didn't know. Well, I got them home and opened them up, and it was 2 pillowcases, and they were just beautiful, and they're really well made. Well, 2 different followers made comments that they have these. One of them said, I have those same ones, and then a couple days later, another girl said, hey, I have that set. I'd like to know where they got them. I thrifted these, and I've looked all over the internet, and I can't find anything even similar to them. But I have to say, these are really good quality, and they're so beautiful. And all the ones I saw on the internet, I didn't see any as pretty as these. So I go into my little French country bedroom, my spare room, and I started playing around this afternoon. It was real cool in the house, and I had a blast. And I put our white quilt on that little bed, and I put pillows in those pillowcases and used them for like shams. And I really like the way it turned out. And I can change out different things in the room to add a little blue. Now this is I guess it's just a pretty pillowcase I found somewhere, and I don't really care for it on there. It covers up the blue. And then I brought out Brad's candle and one of my cobalt vases and some roses and one of my cobalt goblets, and put those on the table that's on the right side of the bed. And then these are some little, that's a flow blue plate in the background, but my friend Sherry had found me all these little children's pieces that are blue and white. And I set a few of those on the shelves to bring in some blue. So you can change the whole look of your room just by changing a few colors. And then this was a little flow blue canister I had, and I put a candle in it. And then I had this little blue book. It's called Hoosier Hollyhocks. And it's poems written by someone from Indiana named Big Rich. Anyway, he wrote poems, and I guess he was quite popular in 1928, and he lived in Evansville, Indiana. And this little book, I thrifted it somewhere or got it in a yard sale or something, but adding a little touch of whatever color your bedclothes are is a good way to bring in that color with books. So I'm looking at my sheets underneath everything, and I had my blue and white rose sheets on, but I only had one pillowcase because there's only one pillow on that bed. Well, I grabbed the other pillowcase out of the drawer, and I covered that white crocheted looking one that I wasn't too crazy about, and just showing you different ways you can do this. And I stuffed that pillowcase onto that pillow. Well, it looked okay, but then I got to looking, and even though it was very pretty, it was pretty faded out. So I turned back the sheets again and noticed that they were pretty dark, and I did have one pillow on the bed, and it was a darker pattern, and the other one had been washed so many times. So I switched it out, and I put the darker pillowcase on, and it looked a lot better. The other one's pretty faded. And then I showed where you can just take like a napkin. This is just a napkin I thrifted somewhere. It was brand new. And you could sew that with a white square and stuff your pillow. And then my husband had this chambray shirt, and I wear it quite a bit. I love it. But I was just going to show you how you can take other pillows, like this is a rectangle-shaped pillow, and just wrap the shirt around the pillow and tuck it on the back. You could use safety pins to hold it down, but it's a way of decorating your bed with different colors, where if you don't have the pillow that matches all your stuff. And this is a lightweight kind of it's kind of thin shirt that I have, and I wrapped the square pillow with it, and it looked like this. And of course it's all different colors of shades of blue and white, but it all goes together. And then I had this knit shirt that's got a hood on it, and I thought, well, I'll wrap the rectangle shaped pillow in it just to show you different ways you can do things if you're decorating and you don't have the right colors or enough fabric. I thrift fabric all the time, so I have plenty, but you can wrap a pillow in a shirt and it looks fine. And then, of course, there's all kinds of good magazines with the blues in them that you can lay around and kind of pull in some pretty colors to your room. And then I had this magazine that actually had blue dishes on the front of it. I thought it was pretty. Victoria magazine always has blue dishes in it. This cottage magazine did. And then this book is called Miss Mustard Seed, and I've had it for several years, but it's a really good book. It's a home decor, how to refinish furniture, how to make rugs, how to do all kinds of things, and she's really good. And I think she's had some other books since then, but I've really enjoyed this book, and it's got a lot of blue and white in it. Her name's Marion Parsons, and you can still get it on all the thrifted books and Amazon, and you could probably find it at a thrift store too. I've seen it. But anyway, I ended up putting the quilt on again, and Marcus had given us this throw. It's actually like a king-size throw, and it's real soft and pretty, and I had it put up for winter, but I pulled it out and put it on the end of the bed, and then I went ahead and put it halfway up the bed, almost 3/4 of the way up the bed, and that looked real pretty. And then you don't have to make your bed just the conventional way. You can use all kinds of fabrics. I've even used curtain toppers across underneath the pillows to make it look like a piece of trim. And then I decided to put the blue throw on the bed and put the quilt on top of it and pull the quilt down about 15 inches. And that looked real pretty. They were all different shades of blue and white, but it all blends really well. Now that little cabinet back there in the corner that I've got on that little table, I think I'm going to hang that on the wall. I pulled out one of my little blue and white dishes to put back there where I had the other one that had cherries on it. No, it had raspberries on it, I believe. But anyway, I'm just showing you different ways you can grab things from other parts of the house, like this little tarnished silver bowl. I grabbed it out of the hallway and I put it next to the bed. I think that color, tarnished silver, looks good with blue. And you can use it for lots of different things. You can just use it for a catch-all bowl to put your rings and jewelry in. You can use it as a coaster. I brought out one of my beautiful free yard sale goblets that I got the other day, and it is just gorgeous. I put some water in it. I ended up laying down and kind of enjoying the room a little bit. You can use it as a candle holder so that your candle doesn't get too hot on your table. And of course, I already had this little blue and white dish on there that I was using for a coaster, so it matched. But I was just toying around with all the different things and pulling things from different parts of the rooms. And I really think this cabinet belongs on the wall. It takes up a little bit too much space. I like it here, but when I can find my stud finder, I'm going to find some studs and I'm going to hang that back up on the wall. And then it'll give me more room on that little nightstand. But like I said, books, you can always add a little bit of color with books. I went through the house and found my little Who's Your Hollyhock book that's a pretty color blue. And then I was looking at some old videos from last summer, and I saw this picture with this blue candle on a blue magazine, and a Garden Bliss magazine with the same blue candle. And the little vignette I had on the bed last summer, all of this would look good on the bed as well. So my porch, you know how much I love it. This is in the daytime. I had this beautiful zinnia come up in my geranium pot. It just came up all by itself. It must have just blown it, the seeds blew over or a bird brought it over, but it's so beautiful. It's a real deep fuchsia red color. That doesn't make sense. Fuchsia and red blended. And then this is the little lampshade that's on there, and it's fading out from being out there for 2 summers. But you know what Marcy's going to do? She's going to paint that. I'm going to repaint those pink flowers, and it'll be beautiful again. It's just a little faded. And then this is waiting for me. It's been waiting for me for 2 years. I haven't painted anything. And I was looking the other day, and I thought, you know what? All of my brushes and my paints and my canvas and my new easel that I made a couple summers ago have been patiently waiting for me. They never get mad at me. They just sit there and wait until I come along and paint something. And I've been wanting to paint for a long time, so I'm going to do that soon. I'm going to start painting again. I used to paint all the time. Even when the boys were growing up, I was always painting. And, well, I got a YouTube channel now, so maybe that's why I don't paint so much. And these are the flowers at my bank. I told you they overdo it on flowers, and it is so beautiful. This is not even half of it. They just have so many beautiful flowers. And then I found this picture that I had taken a few months ago. I found this at a thrift store the other day. It's the boys' favorite Christmas book from when they were little. And I have one that's in really bad shape that was theirs. And then I found this one, and I got it so they'll each have one someday for their children. And then I'm still on the lookout for another one, so Grandma will have one when I finally have grandchildren. But I'm looking back at old pictures from last summer, and I saw this pile. Remember when they tore down the house and they threw all the stuff out by the road? And we dug through it, and it had such beautiful stuff in all that mess. And I got this beautiful candle holder. I just love it. And then I got this beautiful crystal candy dish. And yeah, that was a neat day. And I'm looking back through all my old pictures, and I saw this, and I thought, Marcy, why didn't you buy those? I can't remember the name of them, Blendo or Blenko, where the color fades into clear. I think they're from like the 60s or 70s, and they're cranberry glass colored. And I passed on those babies, and I don't know why. I've got to re-examine my thrifting thing, because normally, like today, that I would pick up every one of those. I don't know what I was thinking. And then I saw this picture, and I didn't even remember it, from last summer when I took all my bricks away from my rock and weeded and cleaned my porch and put down new plastic and put down sand. And oh, it was so nice to have it all put back together again. And that's what the backyard looks like now. And I need to repaint those little circles, but other than that, it's pretty good. So, as always, I rambled on too long, but you can join me on Instagram at MarcyJo631. I'm getting a whole lot of new followers, and I'm loving it. And if you want to talk to me on Facebook, you can leave me a private message. Several people did that this week, and I loved it. And I want to thank you. And as always, you know I love you guys from the bottom of my heart, and I can't wait to see you again.